Hello, we are Group 3 and our names are Lisi Suarez,
Aiden Flores.
Leticia Varela.
and the topic we're discussing is the life and work of Judy Chicago. Judy Chicago is an American feminist artist, art educator, and writer. Chicago describes her early work as minimalistic and as trying to fit in with the boys, but in the late 1960s, she turned to feminist content, which examines the role of women in history and culture. Around that same period of time, she changed her last name to Chicago as an act of independence. In 1970, she founded the first feminist art program in the United States at the California State University and acted as a catalyst for feminist art and art education. She is considered one of the first generation feminist artists. Some of her work and many of her books are worldwide known, with her most famous work of art being The Dinner Party, which is permanently at the Brooklyn Museum. The Dinner Party celebrates the accomplishment of women throughout history, and it's widely regarded as the first epic feminist artwork.
As we previously discussed, we now know that Judy Chicago's work surrounds or centralizes in the idea of woman. She seeks recognition and she seeks equality for feminist artists just like her. Most of her work shows the achievements of women throughout history, and she also scandalizes a lot of vaginal imagery in her work. That being said, I wanted to show you one of her most famous work, which is called The Dinner Party. And I will show it right now. When I first looked at her work, I was kind of confused about the central idea of her work, and I didn't know what it had to do with feminism at all. So then I did my research and I found out that the triangle means equality, and each of the plates represents women that have had impacted throughout history. And in the first one, I wanted to show you one of her first plates, and it has Family Dickinson on it. The reason being, the name of on the plate, the reason of it being that Emily Dickinson was an American writer who lived during the Civil War, and she was on the first wave of the feminism. So that should summarize the meaning of the dinner party. And I'm gonna show you a few more plates so you can have an idea of what it looked like. And later on, I wanted to discuss about how her work had to do with our class material. In chapter 36, we talked about racial and gender equality. So I am gonna show you one of the poems that caught my attention in the chapter, and it's called The Beauvoir, the Second Sex. I will read the beginning and the ending of the poem. When she does not find love, she might find poetry. Because she does not act, she observes, she feels, she records. A color, a smile awakens profound echoes within her. Her destiny is outside her, scattered in cities already built on the faces of men already marked by life. She makes contact, she relishes with passion, and yet in a manner more detached, more free than of a young man. And at the end, she says, the young girl throws herself into things with ardor because she's not yet deprived from her transcendence, and the fact that she accomplishes nothing, that she is nothing, will make her impulses only more passionate, empty, and unlimited. She seeks from the within of nothingness to attain all. The significance of the title itself should give you an idea of how it is centralized and how men treated women as an inferior sex. And in this poem, Judy Chicago explores the nature of female dependency and from men and from women's liberty and equality. And I'm gonna leave Leticia to give you a little conclusion on her work.
In conclusion, the reason we picked the topic of Judy Chicago, because Judy Chicago is an American feminist activist who was heavily involved in the women's right movement through her contemporary contemporary art, and that relates to what we've been studying, the art of cubism and surrealism. And this is the project of Judy Chicago.